welcome back, everyone, to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 162. We are back today for another weekly episode. Before we get into today's episode, obviously, as always, go check out our last episode. It was a fast food item draft with Ivan and Gottlieb. Dumb fun episode. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was it was the most even draft yet.
Yeah, I think
easily
so.
The closest finish.
And I think it was the most loaded draft too. Like
Yeah.
every single pick was a good one because fast food's just good, and we all like the same stuff. So go check that out. Obviously, go see who won and everything, and go check it out on TikTok as well to see the clips and everything if you want to see on the screen what everybody picked. So let's get into today's episode because right now, this is the first time I'm saying this in a while. It is a great feeling to be a sports fan of the teams that we are fans of right now. I mean,
what a time to be alive.
Just about a week ago, actually, we were going on a rant about how this is the worst time ever to be a fan of the teams we are fans of. And now it's completely changed. A Lions win changes a lot of things.
It has totally made the switch up. This whole feels like the whole vibe is totally different.
Yeah, it does because Lions got a dub, obviously, on Sunday, and it's even better because it came against Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is a loser. And then Michigan State gets the upset win over Illinois this weekend. Michigan gets a nice win. I forget who they even played. I don't even remember. And then the Pistons won on Monday against... Do you know who Michigan played?
Who the hell did Michigan play? It just started running through my head. It was the number one team and whatever the other side. No, you played Illinois.
That was Illinois, yeah.
You played Illinois. Who did we play?
Was it Rutgers?
I think it was Rutgers.
Yeah, I didn't pay much attention to it, so
I
think it was Rutgers. But Pistons got a win Monday night against Oklahoma City Thunder. College basketball tipped off Monday, and both of our teams won. Red Wings are doing good. Things are just looking good right now for the first time in a while. Obviously, it's short term. It could all change on Sunday. But the Lions is the most important piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
If they win, most likely you're going to be in a good mood.
Yeah, for sure. The Pistons right now especially don't have much effect on it. But it was nice to see even them get a win against Shea and the Thunder. Mm-hmm. It feels good right now to be here. There's a lot of positives to talk about.
Exactly. Also, fire up Chips. They're playing we're recording this Wednesday night. They're playing tonight against Buffalo at home. And then Western game is next Wednesday. So it's just and they won last Wednesday. Maction. They've been doing good in Maction the past couple years. So hopefully it continues this season.
Maction is the craziest invention ever. Wednesday night football.
And Tuesday night.
How genius.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything smarter. Oh, also, by the way, if my voice sounds a little weird, I am nursing a cruddy sickness.
A cruddy.
It is terrible, man. It's just been every night, hot, cold sweats, and runny nose, congestion, and headaches. I don't know what. It's been like this for a week.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I don't know what it really is.
I don't know either.
I hope it's just the flu.
Should we even be doing this?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've been going to work. I've been feeling decent enough to go to work.
Just going on a whole spiel right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into last week's. We're gonna start off hot. We're starting off with weekly picks because we have something to talk about with weekly picks. Last week we had Willie on the show. It was the first week that we were going out of 19, obviously, like we usually do, because we are now usually doing, because we want it to be consistent out of 19 picks every week, the games plus the spread picks. We had Willie on as well. I'm going to say this right now. Willie beat us both. Willie went 14 out of 19, and he went 4 for 6 on the spread picks. So
14 out of 19 feels like a really high score.
Yeah, it is.
That is a high score.
It's quite the high score, yeah.
That is crazy.
However, you and me, we tied at 13 out of 19. So we're right there behind him.
Lots of good weeks.
And we were, we've tied a few times this year. So we go to our first tiebreaker, which is the primetime games. Let me actually go back here, which is Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night this week. Thursday night, Philly, we both picked them. Obviously, they won. Sunday night, Kansas City, we both picked them. They won. And Monday night, Baltimore, we both picked them, and they won. We move on to the second tiebreaker, which doesn't exist. We did not pick a game to to use if there's another tie. So that's why I wanted to discuss with you what we should do here. I have a suggestion, but I wanted to get your approval on it.
Yeah.
I think that the spread picks, whoever got more right, should be the second determiner of
I totally
tiebreaker.
agree. I think that feels totally
and
fair.
obviously I'm picking that because it did work out in my favor. I got 3 out of 6 spread picks right, and you got 2 out of 6 right. So.
It feels. I actually don't want to do that. I think we should pick a game from the weekend,
right? Like
now
one that you picked. Yeah,
like we should probably pick the. Let's just pick the Seattle game. Did you pick Seattle?
I did pick Seattle.
Maybe next time. Next time we'll pick a game this week and fix the issue.
Yeah, exactly. So I will give myself the dub for that one, but obviously it's. That can be, I guess that can be just our new second tiebreaker, like from now on.
Yeah, I think makes it more important.
And then we can still pick a game, but the spread picks, it does make them more important.
Yeah, the weight.
So now I'm up to 15 total right on the year. You're at 16 total on the year. So, and you lead 5-4 now. So it's back to 1 game behind.
Yes, sir. Weekly picks are scripted.
Yeah, they are. That was just proof there that it was.
That
scripted.
was proof.
So yeah, I mean, let's talk about the Lions win this past Sunday. It was just refreshing to finally win a game that seemed like we were still going to end up blowing. We're up 15-9 late in the fourth quarter. We have the ball, and it's 4th and I think 4 inside of our own. It was like the 40, 50-ish yard line, a little too deep of a field goal. And we decided to go for it, and I knew as soon as we were going for it that we were going to lose the game. It's just like it was very clear we will lose because it was like 3rd and 1. And we punched it with Jamal, and he got tackled for a heavy loss. So it was like, if it was like 4th and 1, 4th and 2, I get it. But let's just punt it. Let's just punt it. They have 3 timeouts anyways. But we didn't pick it up. And I was terrified. I mean, especially Aaron Rodgers. He has led a lot of comebacks on that Ford Field. My worst memory ever is that Thursday night game or the Hail Mary to Richard Rodgers for the win. Like one of my least favorite games my whole life. But we got the win. The defense stepped up. Aaron Rodgers made a couple terrible, just like throwing the ball away type throws. Even on the 4th down, it seemed like he was just throwing the ball away. And we got the win.
His frustrations boil over so frequently now with this team and this group. He is freaking out every time he goes to the sidelines and it's not a score. And it's hilarious to watch. Frankly, I love it. Like you said, you were sitting here like you were watching a horror movie on that last drive. Your eyes covered.
Terrified.
Didn't want to watch the game, and I totally get it. Aaron Rodgers had just beaten us so many times in that exact moment before. It was an awesome win, 9-15. Big Hutch gets a pick. Read that like a book. And I can only imagine how pissed off Rodgers was because that was just a play call. Like they were just throwing it.
And it was a terrible throw for him as well, too. Like they even called a timeout to go for it on 4th down, and just a terrible play, bad pass, didn't work out. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers throws 3 picks. Love to see it. And did you see him go on the Pat McAfee show?
I read the news headline, but I didn't care to listen.
Yeah, he was just saying how, because they, one of the guys on, it was AJ Hawk on the show, was just like, yeah, this Lions defense has been pretty bad all year, statistical categories, and they played really well against you guys. So what did they do differently? And he pretty much just said, like, no, they didn't play well. Like, I just played bad and couldn't finish drives. Like, they didn't do anything special. Like, he said, like, we drove the ball down the field multiple times, and they just got picks, like, late in the drives. Like, we could have had a lot more points.
I'm okay with him saying that. If he wants to say our bad defense didn't play well against him and he played like shit, I'm fine with that.
I don't get how you can say terrible. Our defense didn't play well when you scored 9 points in the game. Like, I don't care if you drove the ball down the field. You didn't finish it because our defense stepped up when it mattered.
Yeah, and that's what defense says.
Exactly.
Stop you scoring points. That's exactly the job.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it became on the first play or you had a 15-play drive that you didn't score on. Like, you still didn't score. So Aaron Rodgers, he's just salty.
Soft.
He's a loser.
Mental
he's soft. He needs to retire.
Midget.
He's mid. He's terrible.
He's stupid.
Yeah, like we could just keep going on and on.
Stupid. But I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't either.
Stupid's harsh.
So I'm happy we got the win, especially against Green Bay, and we take on Chicago this week. Obviously, we'll get into that with weekly picks. So really excited for that. So should we just get weekly picks out of the way? Should we just do it right now?
Let's get it out of the way.
Let's do it. weekly picks.
High tempo weekly picks.
All NFL games of the week.
What teams are gonna cover the spread?
Season 3. Welcome back. Golden Joseph is here.
Green Bay sucks.
High tempo weekly picks. Let's get into weekly picks. Week 10, we got 4 teams on bye this week. The Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, New England Patriots, and the New York Jets all on bye. So we have 5 spread picks this week. Thursday Night Football, the NFL just continues to outdo themselves and put these horrible games on Thursday night. We got the 4-5 Atlanta Falcons taking on the 2-7 Carolina Panthers.
I don't know if this game will come on the TV. I mean, I know it will because it's Thursday night and, we got nothing else to do. But it's going to be terrible. It's like an inverse shootout. It could just be terrible.
Yeah.
I'm going with Atlanta, but I have no clue in this game.
Yeah, I'm taking Atlanta, but I am going to take Carolina to cover +3, only kind of just as a safety route. The last time these two teams played, it did have an unreal ending with the Hail Mary to DJ Moore and the longest completed pass in NFL history that was traveled in the air, obviously, with PJ Walker. So I feel like they might want revenge to win this game, even though Carolina should be tanking. So that's why I'm going to take Carolina +3, but just a bad game. It's not going to be fun. Bad all around. Next, we have the 6-3 Seattle Seahawks taking on the 4-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Tom Brady this weekend was crazy. The Tampa Bay LA Rams game was just wild. The end of it, I don't even know what to think of this Tampa Bay team anymore. And I know that the Seattle team is good. I'm going to Seattle in this game.
I am going to roll with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Seattle's been hot lately, and I just feel like they are bound to lose at some point. They've won, I think, 3 or 4 games in a row now. Tampa Bay, they had an ugly win against the Rams this past week. That was one of the worst games I've watched in a while, especially with two teams that are supposed to be good. But I think the Bucs, they gotta keep it rolling. They gotta get a dub here, so I'm taking them against Seattle. Next, we have the 3-6 Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the 6-2 Kansas City Chiefs.
I've got the Chiefs here. I'm taking them all the way, and I'm taking them to cover at -9.5. I think they're going to win by more than 10 points. 10 or more. It's so obvious. Jacksonville sucks.
Yeah. I'm taking Kansas City, but give me the Jags +9.5. Look, the Jags, they are a comeback team. Last week they were down 20-0 against the Las Vegas Raiders. They came back and won that game. I'm thinking same thing is going to go down here. Kansas City, they've been struggling to cover lately. They've been winning some tight ones. So give me Jacksonville +9.5. I think they can cut it down. Next, we have the 1-6-1 worst team in football, Houston Texans, taking on the 6-2 New York Giants.
It's nice to hear us be able to call them the worst team in football again. That is awesome. I have the Giants because they are the worst team in football.
Yeah.
The Houston Texans are.
Yeah, give me the Giants. Let them get another win under their belt just so the following week they can get a huge upset loss to the Lions. But this week, sure, they'll let them get a win this week while they can get one. Next, we have your very own 2-6 Detroit Lions taking on the 3-6 Chicago Bears.
Give me Detroit back-to-back in division dubs. We can do it. There have been teams to make the playoffs with 6 losses. It's happened before.
Yeah, it happens every single year.
Every single year. We're going to be that team this year. Go Lions, baby.
So you just know losses the rest of the year, you don't think?
No. I mean, the defense is playing well. So what can really happen?
Yeah, give me the Lions here, obviously. First time playing the Bears this year. We got swept by the Bears last year. We can't let it happen again this year. Justin Fields, however, rushed for 178 rushing yards last week. He's probably going to rush for even more this upcoming week against us. We struggle against mobile quarterbacks, but Kirby Joseph stepping up in that rookie ladder for defensive rookie of the year race. If he can have another couple big games, he's going to be a very highly talked about rookie. Obviously, Hutchinson got his pick. Need the defense to keep stepping up. So I'm going with the Lions here. They did. Dan Campbell said that J-Mo, they're aiming for him first week of December is kind of what they're looking at right now. Which is, I have mixed feelings about that. Obviously, we could use him a lot right now with the injuries we have at wide receiver, but there's no point in rushing him back when we're 2-6. So
I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I'm not sure he needs to play this year. Like, he really needs to. But obviously, if he's like perfectly fine, then he should play. But if he's like even a little bit like, I'm not sure, keep him sidelined. I don't want to see him play.
That first week of December game's the Jags game that we will be at. So maybe there's a chance that's J-Mo's first game. That'd be pretty nuts.
That would be crazy. That would be hype.
That'd be pretty awesome. Oh, but yeah, go Lions. Next, we have the 3-6 New Orleans Saints taking on the 2-6 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Give me New Orleans and give me -1.5. Just got to beat Pittsburgh by a sliver, a little more than 1.5.
Just a little more, yeah.
Just a little more.
Just a half more. I'm taking the Steelers in this game. This is why. You're saying, Lions, we can make the playoffs. We're only 2 games out of the playoffs right now. However, we are still the 14th ranked NFC team. We're going to need some of these other wildcard teams to start taking L's that are above us, starting with the New Orleans Saints. So I'm already looking ahead to the future here. So give me the Steelers. Need a little help from the Steelers today or this week. So go Steelers.
Yep.
Weird thing to say.
Weird thing to say.
And plus, like, apparently Najee's like they're gonna start getting worked out of the offense, and Jaylen Warren might be getting more involved.
They're working Najee out of the offense.
They said that Jaylen Warren they want him as involved as much as Najee is. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll see what goes down there.
Oh, that's awesome. I hope there's so much turmoil in Pittsburgh. I just hope it's like boiling over to the point where the rivers converge and blow up stadium. The rivers.
Blow up the stadium. All right, next we have the 3-5 Cleveland Browns taking on the 6-3 Miami Dolphins.
I have the Dolphins winning this game. They are just so... Their offense is just ridiculous. Giving up 178 yards, though, to a running quarterback is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
NFL record. Nobody did that with Michael Vick. That is ridiculous. But Miami, just their offense is so hot. I can't see them losing to a team with an inferior offense.
I can see that happening. Give me the Cleveland Browns in this game. Listen, the Miami Dolphins are hot. That offense is looking good. It's about time that somebody stops them. And I think it's going to be the Browns. I don't know. This is just one of those games that I saw, and I'm like, you know what? This is going to be an upset. So give me the Browns here in this one. Next, we have the 7-1 Minnesota Vikings taking on the 6-2 Buffalo Bills.
I loved that noise. Really gets me like angry at their 7-1.
Except Kirk Thuggins, though.
He is fire.
That was hard. That was hard.
He is like so hard to dislike. He really is.
I love Kirk.
He's so fired. Him talking about how ripped he's always been is just so was funny too. He's such a nerd. I do like Kirk. I think the Minnesota Vikings are absolute frauds. I don't think they're very good at football. I think Buffalo is going to beat them, and I think Buffalo is going to trounce them. They have Buffalo set at -3.5. I think Buffalo is going to win by 10 touchdowns. Give me Buffalo and give me the spread.
This is a hard one because this is a line that has been moving a lot throughout the day because Josh Allen is up in the air whether or not he's going to play or not, which obviously is a huge factor in this game.
Mickey Mouse win.
Exactly, yeah. Just another one, right? Yeah. This is a Minnesota team that was losing to the Washington Commanders all game, and they came back and won. Just another, like, it's so frustrating. The Vikings are not them, dude. Like, they are going to lose first round of the playoffs and disappoint everyone who's thinking they're a Super Bowl team. It ain't that, dude. So give me Buffalo, whether it's Josh Allen, whether it's Case Keenum, whether it is, I don't even know, Jim Kelly. Give me the Buffalo Bills and give me
Kelly.
I had them at -4, so I will stick where I had it at when I was looking at it. So it was -4. Either way, it doesn't matter. Bills win by 20, so I would have took -20.
I said 10 touchdowns.
That's a lot.
20 points isn't enough.
Yeah, right. Next, we have the 3-5 Denver Broncos taking on the 5-3 Tennessee Titans.
This game is shaping up to be the worst game of football ever. Of interesting things to happen. Derrick Henry has an opportunity to go nuts, but Denver's defense is pretty good, so it could just be like a 14-0 game at the end of the game. I'm taking Tennessee. This game could be terrible. I don't want to watch this one.
Tennessee put up a really good fight against Kansas City on Sunday Night Football last week.
They match up well.
Yeah. Took them to overtime. With Malik Willis at quarterback, I don't know what the status is of Ryan Tannehill at the moment. As much as, a lot of people like to meme on Tannehill, he clearly makes this team better than Malik Willis does. So whether it's him or not, I think Tennessee's still going to win this game against Denver. And I got Tennessee -3 as well. I think they're going to win by 4 points at least. Next, we have the 3-5-1, maybe second worst team in football, the Indianapolis Colts, taking on the 2-6, maybe third worst team in football, Las Vegas Raiders.
Do we need to talk about the Colts and the most interesting
I guess we can talk about that.
decision ever? Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't know, the Colts fired Frank Reich, their head coach, and they went out and hired former player Peyton Manning's center for like 16 years, Jeff Saturday, to be the head coach. Now, if I were to tell you Jeff Saturday's only coaching experience is high school, I think a lot of people, they would raise some questions about, he's only coached high school football 2 years ago. Is he ready to do this at the NFL level? I think it is the most ridiculous move out of an organization ever to go out and get a guy who has not only never coached NFL football, never coached college football, and there are guys on your staff that probably want to be head coach that can't be. It's just wild to me. What do you think about it?
It's wild because, this is something, if it happened in the offseason, I don't think it would be a terrible move by any means.
Either.
Obviously, there's guys on the staff that could, but you're looking for a new season and everything. You're doing this halfway through this, in week 10 of the season. Usually when a coach gets fired, the interim is 100%, 99% maybe, always someone that is on the staff. You give them the rest of the year to give them it's pretty much a interview for the job next year. And that didn't happen here. They hired someone from the outside without coaching experience. I understand, you could say he doesn't have coaching experience, but he was a center in the NFL for a very long time, one of the best in the league. So clearly, he has play football NFL experience. Just coaching is obviously a little bit different. Pretty wild though. It's a crazy move. And now there's all this talk about Aaron Rodgers going to the Colts now out of nowhere, which is just weird. But yeah, it's a weird move to me. I don't understand it at all. I don't know if it means they're tanking or they think it's a good idea. I don't really know.
Yeah, me either. And I get he can just be a leader. He doesn't have to do play calling for either side. He can just go out there and lead, but it's still just a weird move because even he said he was so shocked when he got the phone call.
I was going to say, does that mean they had this planned? Because it happened within the same couple hours, so I don't know. Weird move by the Colts. But who you got in the game?
I have the Las Vegas Raiders winning this game, but I don't trust them enough to win it. So I'm taking Indianapolis at +5.5.
Yeah, this is a terrible game. I don't know who to pick. I've been relying on the Raiders for a few weeks now. Picked them.
Yeah.
And they suck. They're terrible. I saw a fake tweet today that Josh McDaniels got fired. So Elon's got to get rid of this. He's got to get rid of this fake verification check thing. It's going to ruin sports Twitter. I'm taking the Colts. One common theme that I usually do is when a coach gets fired, I like to pick them the following week because it just gets them fired up.
Yeah,
they want to do, it's a new vibe in the locker room.
I feel like that there's got to be good numbers supporting that. I really do.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially when you're playing a terrible team. So yeah, give me the Colts here.
Do you remember when you said they were a fringe top 10
Yeah,
team?
I do remember that. That was 2 weeks ago. Because I thought they were. They're not.
Yeah, and obviously hindsight 2020. I can't hold that against you.
All right, next we have the 3-6 Arizona Cardinals taking on the 3-5 LA Rams.
This is just terrible. This is terrible. These seem stuck. Did you see Buda Baker's?
Yeah, I did see that.
That was sad, man. I'm tired of them losing at home. I wish they'd watch some more film. I wish Call of Duty didn't come out.
Yeah.
Buda, I feel for you, man, but your team sucks. You've got a terrible team, and Cliff Kingsbury is terrible. And in LA, what's going on there? Sean McVay just might not come back.
Yeah.
You won a Super Bowl 2 years ago.
That almost happened. They won it last year.
Or last year.
He almost didn't come back this season though. There's always been retirement rumors with him. It's kind of weird.
Why? He's 30.
Yeah, I think that's why though. I think it's because he's so young and he wants his kids are all really young and stuff too.
Gotcha. Oh, that does make a little bit of sense. I'm pretty sure
that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. And he'd just be an analyst probably at that point.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
Anyways, I've got LA because I just dislike the Cardinals more.
Yeah.
So,
like a quick, tiny little rant.
I'm excited.
How many times are we going to say this team sucks? Like, there's so many bad teams this year. Like, it kind of blows. I mean, I don't know. It makes for like a more entertaining season because like every team is like can lose on any given week. But like, there's so many teams that were supposed to be good that are just terrible. Yeah. The Rams are are hard to watch. This team won the Super Bowl last year and brought back almost everyone. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they suck. They're terrible to watch. The Cardinals, this team was one of the best teams in the league last year, undefeated through most of the season. They suck. Like, I can go on and on and on about so many teams that are terrible, and it's just really weird, like that how that is a thing this year. It's just a lot of bad football.
Yeah, it really doesn't help that, like, but I mean, the bad football is the points aren't being scored. So even in losses, teams look like sometimes a game ends 35-38. You're like, man, both teams scored the ball well. At least that game was fun. These games are like 22-14, and they're terrible to watch. And I hate it. I wish the exact opposite of. I wish we were, man, this team is good.
Yeah.
But the other teams are just better.
Exactly.
But it's
like,
not this
coming
year.
into this year, we were like especially in the AFC, we were like, man, this could be like the most loaded AFC ever. Like, all teams in the AFC West could make the playoffs. All teams in the AFC North could make the playoffs. The Denver Broncos suck. The Chargers don't suck, but like they're just not as good as I thought they were going to be. The Chiefs obviously are still really good. And the Raiders suck. I thought that division was going to be awesome. You look at the AFC North, the Steelers, yeah, they're bad, but like I didn't have crazy high expectations. They have a rookie quarterback, so they get kind of a pass. The Cincinnati Bengals, they're good. They've been iffy, but like they're good. The Cleveland Browns, you know, when Deshaun gets suspended, you can't have very high expectations for them, but like they're bad. And the Baltimore Ravens, like they're good, but like they're not this like best team in the AFC like I thought they were going to be. So it's been really weird so far this year. And obviously there's teams that are doing better that I thought were going to be bad. So it counters, you know, like the Jets, the Giants, Seahawks. These are all teams that were supposed to be bad that have looked really good. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's been a weird NFL. But give me the Cardinals in this game. It's at the point where I love you, Matthew Stafford, but we have your first round pick and your team is 3-5. Like, I'm not going to sit here and root for your team to make this comeback the rest of the year and end up being 500. Yep. I want you guys to lose out the rest of the year.
That's a great point.
Like, so give me the Arizona Cardinals here.
That's a great point.
Sunday Night Football, we have the 5-3 LA Chargers taking on the 4-4 San Francisco 49ers.
So, wait. Oh, Dallas Green Bay.
Oh, I didn't even write that down. That's Sunday night?
No, it's not Sunday night. It's before Sunday night.
Dang,
that's
I completely missed that game.
That's why I said that.
All right, we'll do that then. Is it Dallas at Green Bay?
I don't know.
Well, what team did you write down first?
Dallas.
Okay, then it's Dallas at Green Bay.
This game, if you think, what happens when Aaron Rodgers plays bad against a bad defense, right? It's a terrible game. What happens when he plays bad against the best defense in the NFL, maybe? It can get really ugly in this Dallas Green Bay game extremely quickly, and I'm hoping that Aaron Rodgers just gets pummeled the whole game. I hope Micah Parsons and him are like brothers by the time the game is over because of how much time they've spent on the ground hugging each other. I'm so excited to watch this game. I want Dallas to kill Green Bay. Go Cowboys. Go Cowboys this week.
Yeah, give me the Cowboys. I don't have much else to say. Didn't write this game down, so I didn't really think much about it. Completely skipped over it. So yeah, give me the Cowboys. Green Bay, they're bad. They're trying to make this like crazy rivalry out of this game. I saw a commercial about it actually. That like this is a huge rivalry because they play each other. Like on TV.
Yeah,
you know what a commercial is? Like
I've never seen a commercial for a random game.
It's game of the week. Like Sunday,
gotcha.
It's on Fox game of the week.
Gotcha,
so,
that makes sense.
But yeah, it was just like saying how this is like a huge rivalry, and like I don't really think it is. Mike McCarthy is going against his former team, obviously, and they asked him about it in the press conference, and he like completely was like, nah, like. I don't have any, like, I'm not even thinking about that this is my old team or anything. Like, yes, you are, dude. Like, you don't have to admit it, but, like, you definitely are. But, yeah, give me the Cowboys. Nothing else to say about that. Now we can move on to Sunday Night Football, where we have the 5-3 LA Chargers taking on the 4-4 San Francisco 49ers.
I've got San Francisco winning this game. I think they're going to dominate. I don't think the Chargers have it. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams still not looking great. I traded Keenan Allen this week in fantasy for Gabe Davis.
Just now you traded him, really?
He's got. I mean, I just don't even know if he's ever going to play football again. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
like his value.
Like you waited it out all year.
His value is highest. But like I also like didn't expect to be losing at all the weeks.
True. Yeah.
There's just a lot of. It's been a terrible year for me in fantasy. I'm starting Brian Robinson and David Montgomery. Actually, I'm not starting. I dropped Brian Robinson today. I'm starting Jeff Wilson.
Oh, that's probably that's better.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe.
That's just terrible.
Yeah, like he also could just get like 5 touches next week. Like
I've got San Fran winning this game and beating up on the Chargers.
I'm taking San Francisco in this game. However, I'm taking the Chargers +7 in this game. Most of these primetime games have been really tight. It seems like every week, all these primetime games are close games. San Francisco, don't know the health of Deebo Samuel. There's some other issues, obviously, on their defense still with injuries. So I'm going to take the Chargers +7, but give me the Niners to win. Monday Night Football, we have the 4-5 Washington Commanders taking on the 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles.
Can I see that pen?
Yeah.
I have a pick, but I didn't actually I didn't square it in. Oh, okay. I'm taking Philly in this game. Philly's the best team in football. They just look so good, so unbeatable. They'll beat you in any way they want. A.J. Brown's a monster. I've got Philly winning this game, and I'm taking their spread at -10.5.
Wow.
Yes, sir. They're going to kill the Washington Commanders.
I do not think so. I think it is time. I am big on this. Philly is not that team bandwagon, dude. I'm hopping on it. They're good. Like they're definitely a really good team. But
Mickey Mouse schedule.
Yeah, like Mickey Mouse schedule for sure.
Definitely.
Philly 8-0. It's just it's perfect for this to happen on prime time. The Washington Commanders, a team that has been hot lately. They took a tough loss to Minnesota last week. But it's time for them to lose. I was gonna take them to win and Washington to cover, but no. Monday night is the perfect time for this to happen. Taylor Heineke is getting it done. Give me Washington on Monday night to win this one.
You want to talk about scripted NFL? If Philly loses this game on primetime, the NFL is scripted. Commanders should not beat Philly.
Why do you say that?
They're just not that good. They just aren't good enough to beat.
Divisional game, dude.
I'm just saying, since it's on primetime, means the NFL is scripted. It just furthers the proof.
Right.
They're waiting until it's a primetime game. We even look at
Thursday night football last week, Philly versus Houston. It wasn't a blowout for the whole game. Like, I mean, Houston even covered, so like it wasn't all that. Like Philly's, they're
struggling.
I don't know, dude. The two top teams in the NFC, I don't trust either of them, Philly or Minnesota. Don't trust them at all.
I don't trust Minnesota.
I might even trust Dallas over them.
I trust Dallas over Minnesota, but not Dallas over Philly.
I think I might, dude.
It's close. It's definitely close.
I think at full strength, when they play each other next, Dallas wins against Philly.
Yeah, especially if they get OBJ.
Yeah, if they do. Hopefully. Yeah. The thing is, I have OBJ in Dynasty, but I also have Michael Gallup in that league, and then I have CD in my other league. So, like, I don't really need OBJ to go to that. No, like, I don't need that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't love that.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I mean, but I don't want him to go to Green Bay for, obviously that reason. Buffalo would be cool, I guess. The Giants would, I think, be really cool.
The Giants would be so cool.
I think that would be the coolest place. Just do it after the Lions game so I don't have to root against you. But yeah, that's weekly picks. Let's hop into the college football playoff talk. Tuesday night, the new rankings came out. Let's go over them. Number 1 is Georgia after their big win over number 1 previously, Tennessee. It was a convincing win. They won big. Number 2 is Ohio State after coming off of a ugly win against Northwestern, only winning 21-7. There was some pretty bad weather in this game, so I'm not going to give Ohio State a ton of flack because the weather was terrible in this game. But they're number 2. Number 3 is the Michigan Wolverines. Ugly first half. Yeah, it was Rutgers because now I'm recalling the game. Ugly first half against Rutgers. It was close, but obviously they end up blowing them out in the second half. Is this Michigan team the greatest second half football team ever?
It's starting to feel like it.
They are. Okay, I'm not 100% sure how real this is because Willie showed it to me and I just saw like a glimpse of it. But I think they're outscoring their opponents like 500-3 in the second half this year.
No way, it's 500.
I think that's what it was.
That would mean we almost score 50 points a half every second half.
Yeah.
There's no way we score 50 points at every...
Dude, they might do it. Like, it probably wasn't a joke.
It had to have been
But
fake.
still, though, like, they are just a really good second half team. So, they're number 3. And number 4 comes in TCU. one of the few undefeated teams left in the country. They are leading the Big 12 right now. Was a little surprised by this because Tennessee moves all the way down to 5 from 1 from losing to Georgia, who has been the number 1 team all year. I don't know. I'm not like trying to throw shade at TCU here. But I just feel like it's kind of a little far to take Tennessee completely out of the top 4 when they had a loss to the best team in the country.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Tennessee should be sitting right at 4 still. I think TCU should be at 5. Tennessee's just they play in the SEC.
Yeah,
you're gonna play good teams and lose to good teams at least once, and especially this year.
Yeah,
everybody's got one loss in the SEC. I think it's weird that they dropped them that far, but Georgia did really beat.
They did. They beat them up.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like, they whooped them. And they kind of made them look really young out of nowhere. I saw an interesting stat about Stetson Bennett and Henderson Hooker.
Oh, yeah, how old they are. Yeah.
That is crazy.
I know, it's crazy.
How old they are. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah. Tennessee being number 5, I think I just feel like they should have given TCU 1 week to like really prove it because they had their biggest game of the year this week. So, but yeah, Tennessee's number 5. Oregon is number 6. They have been a team that has been rising, and they could be a team that sneakily gets into the playoff. LSU jumps to 7 after upsetting Alabama. USC 8. Bama falls all the way to 9. Clemson moves up to 10. I don't want to back up Bama here, and it doesn't matter that 8 and 9. I don't think it matters, but Bama has 2 losses to the number 1 and number 5 team in the country by a combined 5 points, which is just kind of wild that they I do think they should be higher. Obviously, you could say well, who do you put them over? Obviously, LSU has to be above them because they won. But I don't know. I just feel like Bama I hate backing them up here because everyone hates on Bama obviously. But their 2 losses are very tight losses.
Yeah, I totally agree. Bama's literally 2 plays away from being the number 1 team in the country, damn near. I think it's really weird that they're sitting so low, and people aren't even giving them the respect, they can't make it anymore, which they can't. But it is really weird to hear the talk about Bama as if they've been terrible this year. They've been really, really good, other than a few moments in these games.
And I still think they have the not the Heisman Trophy winner, but the number 1 overall pick in Bryce Young on their squad. So, by the way, it was Michigan in the last 4 games has outscored their opponents 100-3. That's what it was.
That's realistic.
That's what it was. So I must have just saw the zeros and maybe he said 500. I don't know.
Sounds like Willie.
But yeah, they've 100-3 in the last 4 games. Pretty nuts. Yeah, that's pretty
domination
crazy. Yeah,
in this back half. Michigan's been playing so good. We're better than we were last year, which is just crazy. Because I didn't think we would be, because last year felt like a roller coaster the whole year. It was just the most exciting year ever. So I can't. The Ohio State-Michigan game is just starting to climb up here. It's getting really close.
Exactly.
I'm getting nervous. So
for these top 7 teams here, let's go through the games that they have this week that can potentially mess up the rankings. Georgia's at Mississippi State. Should be a game that they win, but you never know. A road game, never know. Ohio State takes on Indiana at home, so they should absolutely blow them out. Indiana's not very good this year. Michigan takes on Nebraska at home. Pretty sure Nebraska is the worst run defense, one of the worst run defenses in the country.
That's great
to
hear.
Michigan should win this game by 100 points. TCU, this is where things get interesting. They are on the road taking on number 18 Texas. This is their biggest game of the year. They are not favored to win. I think they're plus 7.5 underdogs. So this is where they really prove it to the committee that they belong in this top 4. They win this game. There's a good chance that they can make it, even if they sustain another loss, unless they lose in the Big 12 championship or something.
It's crazy that they're not favored in that game as the number 4 team in the country.
On the road,
just shows how fraudulent they are.
Yeah, exactly. Number 5, Tennessee is taking on Missouri at home. Shouldn't be a game, but Missouri did battle with Georgia early in the season, but Tennessee should take care of business. Oregon takes on number 25, Washington. This could be a good game. Washington has finally reached back into the top 25 after a couple upset losses early in the season. This should be a high-scoring, fun game, so we'll see how that one goes. And then LSU is at Arkansas, which LSU, they do have 2 losses, so there's no shot they make the playoff. But who knows? I mean, you never
still super interesting.
Yeah, it could still mess things up. So that's what we got going on in the college football playoff. We'll see what happens next week. And Michigan State is playing. Michigan State is playing Rutgers, I'm pretty sure, this week. So,
awesome. They're terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Should be a dub.
I
just like saying it.
Yeah.
Just knowing that we've already beat them. They're in our past.
But Michigan State is obviously they're very
really good.
They're very hit or miss this year. All right, let's talk about some college basketball games upcoming.
I gotta blow my nose so fast.
All right, go ahead. Michigan and Michigan State both won their games on Monday. Michigan defeating Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Michigan State defeating Northern Arizona. I'm pretty sure it was a good start to the year. It's just so loud. It was a nice start to the year for both of these teams to get their first wins, but Michigan State obviously now starts the gauntlet of difficult games. Friday, we head to the Bay. We head to that's not the Bay, but we head to San Diego, California, head into the aircraft, the USS Abraham Lincoln, to take on number 2 Gonzaga. This is going to be a game. I don't want to say it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a game to watch.
This is the best thing college basketball has ever done, ever, is putting 2 teams on an aircraft carrier. How ridiculous is that?
It's awesome.
Like, they're playing in the ocean on basically a giant military cruise ship.
That's exactly what they're doing. Not basically.
Yeah, you're right. It is so cool, and I love it. Last time they played, didn't they have to stop playing because of moisture, like in the middle of the game?
I can't remember.
Like humidity. I think players were like
they might have had to.
But it was Michigan State.
It was quite some time ago. Yeah, it was back in 2010. Michigan State, North Carolina, and now they're taking on Gonzaga this year. But yeah, I remember watching that game as a kid. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was.
But
it's just like
it's cool that Michigan State got the invite back.
It's the coolest venue in all of sports. I think. I don't think there's a cooler venue.
And if we're being realistic here, Michigan State's got no chance of beating Gonzaga in a gym. So let's take them somewhere where there's a chance that, maybe Drew Timme isn't liking the weather out there. Maybe it's a little too sweaty for him.
I was going to ask, do they put up like barriers, or is the crowd enough to block the wind?
I honestly don't know.
There has to be wind out there.
Probably.
They're in the ocean.
I assume they have measures to take care of that of some sort.
I just don't know what that means.
I don't think they legit just go out there to a court and be like, all right, let's get it started. They obviously plan for this type of thing. So.
I'm just thinking, how do you really control, you're telling me a big gust of wind can't happen and just make you miss a shot?
I don't know.
I think it's just one of those things where it's we know we're playing outside.
Yeah.
So, I
don't think it's going to be, that big of a deal. I think they probably are, prepared for wind, and they are, going to... I doubt that on the court there's much wind. I would say that.
I don't even know how that works, though.
I don't either.
I don't know how.
I just don't think they would play a game outside if that was going to be a major factor. You know?
Yeah, I agree. Just feels like it should be where they are.
Right. And then obviously, that's just the first of many tough games for Michigan State. We take on number 4 Kentucky on Tuesday next week in Gainbridge Fieldhouse, where the Indiana Pacers play. So that's going to be a fun game. Obviously, and then we have a couple more games coming up after that, but we'll talk about those after they happen. And then Michigan, number 22 ranked Michigan, coming off their first win of the year on Friday, takes on Emoni Bates and Eastern Michigan. Should be a fun game.
Yeah.
Obviously there was talks about Emoni Bates joining Michigan this offseason. Him and Juwan Howard, I'm pretty sure, have a relationship. And so it's going to be fun to watch Emoni as well, see how he does with his new team, and it'll be fun to watch Michigan play against a star. So
yeah, absolutely. Just it's a cool matchup. Mm-hmm. They also have Noah Farrakhan on that team, so it should honestly very well could be a decent game.
Yeah,
like when we play Oakland, and they make it tough.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm excited to watch.
Yeah,
that
and I don't
game.
know how good. I honestly have no grasp of how good Eastern's going to be this year. They weren't a very good team last year. So I'm not sure if it's going to translate just adding Emoni Bates because it's different basketball. Going from the AAC, a group of 5 conference to the MAC. It just because it's worse players doesn't mean that you're just going to come in and dominate. That's not really how basketball works. So.
Yeah, especially in college hoops. College hoops is so different. That it's such a different style of basketball. Mm-hmm. It's like nothing else gets played.
Exactly, yeah. Any team can be any team on any given night. So I made a 25-leg parlay on Monday with there was 120 college games. Made a 25-leg parlay just for fun, for shits and gigs. 15 cents. No. because I picked every like heavily because no one played any good games. Like it was
gotcha.
It was every good team played a terrible team. So I took the heavy favorite in 25 different games, and I was only taking like heavy, like minus 1,500 was like the minimum I was picking. It was $10 only to win $19. Like it was like plus 190.
That's crazy.
And it obviously did not hit. I didn't expect it to hit because it's 25 legs. Like somebody's going to get upset. Florida State gets upset by like Stetson or something. Just a wonderful start to the year for them Seminoles. And then Temple, they got upset in overtime by I think Wagner or something. So
it's weird to hear that. It just feels, and that's what we mean when we say college basketball.
Exactly,
that's the example. Who are these schools? They're beating Division I huge programs.
These teams were paid to come play you, and you upset them on their home floor. Like
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But I went 23 for 25. So. We'll get them next time. Yeah, I'll win it all. I'll win it all back with MSU upsetting Gonzaga. Anyways.
So. Close only counts with horseshoes and something else.
Hand grenades. All right, let's talk about the NFL MVP race. We've done this a few times so far this year, but let's talk about right now who the current. We are at a point in the NFL season where I think we know what we know. Where it's not no teams are. I don't want to say no teams are frauds because there is frauds.
Oh, they exist. They're purple.
The good teams at this point in the season are the teams that are probably going to be in the playoffs. The bad teams are the teams that probably aren't going to be in the playoffs. The middle of the pack teams, obviously, we don't know yet at this point. So let's talk about the leaders of these teams and who is in the NFL MVP race. You have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, Lamar. Lamar is my only honorable mention.
My only honorable mention is Geno Smith. And I threw Tyreek Hill as an honorable mention because right now he's on pace to break the receiving yards record.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Figured I'd give him some love. Number 5.
Number 5 for me is the definition of value. Number 5 is Tua Tagovailoa. Did I say that right?
Tagovailoa. I don't know how to properly say it.
Tua Tagovailoa. Whatever. He literally the definition of value. If he plays, the Dolphins don't lose. Their only losses come when he doesn't play. Even though he's just a good quarterback. But he I mean that is the definition of value right there. No losses when he plays.
Is it? Would you say it's like the definition of value?
Yeah, I would.
Oh, okay,
I would.
I just didn't know. I couldn't quite understand if that's what you're going for. I didn't put Tua on my list because he's missed like 3 games, but it's the only reason why I didn't. I maybe he deserved it, but I didn't throw him on my list. My number 5 is Lamar Jackson. He was a guy that I did have Geno Smith over him at first, and I was like, I got to give it to Lamar. Lamar is 8th in the entire NFL in rushing yards still, which is just pretty crazy from a quarterback. He's 4th in the league in passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions. The Ravens are leading their division. I'm going to give Lamar number 5.
Number 4 is Geno Smith.
Ooh.
This guy is a baller. If you would have told me the Broncos lost that trade by a mile, I would have never believed you at the start of the year. But the trade isn't even close at this point. Geno is way better than Russ was in Seattle, and people love him. And he's
way better than Russ was in Seattle, or just right now he's better than Russ?
Russ the last 2 years in Seattle.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've been on the Russ hate train for longer than just this season. But Geno's literally balling this year. The wide receivers are lethal, it feels like, in Seattle. The defense is good, and Pete Carroll's having fun.
And you forgot to mention the most important part of the team, too.
The fact they didn't write back?
No, Kenneth Walker is
Kenneth Walker is, team. 10 TDs in the last 5 games,
Something
I think?
Something like that.
Or wait, no, it's Austin
Eckler. I think he's had a touchdown in every of the last 5 games, and he's had 2 in 2 of them. So yeah,
he's been going ballistic. Yeah, he really has been.
My number 4 is Joseph Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Shiesty. He's 3rd in the league in passing yards, 3rd in the league in passing touchdowns. Thrown 6 picks this year, and they've been a really high-powered offense, just like we all expected. And he could end up leading the league in passing yards. That's just how he is. He's just now, I feel like, starting to get his stride back.
Yeah.
So I got the Bengals.
Joe Mixon, you got the Bengals?
Or I got Joe Burrow, yeah. Yeah, Joe Mixon had 5 tutties last week.
That's the MVP.
Exactly, unreal.
My number 3 is Josh Allen. It feels low for him.
Josh Allen?
That's why the question mark at the end of the statement. It feels low for him is the only reason. He is still balling. It's just I think there's 2 guys having a season where they feel a lot more valuable than him.
Yeah, my number 3 is Josh Allen as well. I mean, if we're being honest here, he's racking up the picks. It's that simple. He's got 8 interceptions now on the year. He still is having a phenomenal year, obviously. He's 4th in the league in passing yards, 2nd in passing touchdown, and the Bills are 6-2. But he's thrown a lot of picks, 8 interceptions. I feel like I can't put him over those other 2 guys strictly because of that. And the Bills had a tough loss this past week against the New York Jets, too. Crazy. Josh Allen, 100,000% could still win the NFL MVP award. He honestly might still be the favorite to win it. But at this point in the season, he's number 3.
Yep. My number 2 is Jalen Hurts, the 8-0 Eagles, the leader of the team. He's been balling. I had him at 1 this entire season so far, and he's dropped down a spot because a guy has been better than him recently. But Jalen Hurts has been just a monster. He does that in every way. If you need him to throw for 350, he will. If you need him to run for 150 and 2, he will. That's what makes Jalen Hurts so special this season.
My number 2 is Jalen Hurts as well. Jalen Hurts is leading this Eagles team to 8-0. I've talked a lot of crap about the Eagles so far in this episode, but obviously they are still a really good team, and Jalen Hurts is having a really good year. I just don't think he is the MVP of the league. He is on the best team, but right now he's number 2. He's only thrown 2 picks on the year too, which is like crazy, like the lowest on this list by a large margin. He does it all. He runs, he throws. His team's really good. He's number 2.
Number 1 is Patrick Mahomes, the magician. He has just been a monster this year. He carries not carries the team, but he just makes everybody around him so efficient and so good at the game of football. Juju's been balling out the last few weeks. He's emerged as a sort of wide receiver 1 in Kansas City. Travis Kelce is so good. The Chiefs' offense is just so legit. And it feels like it's the Mahomes show every time you turn on the Chiefs.
It does.
And they keep winning with the Mahomes show. Tells me he's the most valuable player.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, number 1. First in the league in passing yards. First in the league in passing touchdowns. On Sunday night, he threw to 11 different receivers, which is just crazy. This offense is so diverse. It's just very... You don't know who's going to beat you. I mean, it doesn't matter who's on the field. He will give them the ball. He trusts his guys. I think this offense looks better without Tyreek Hill, which is a crazy thing to say. Not like Tyreek was holding them back or anything, but it's just like it was the Tyreek and Travis Kelce show. Now it's like you don't know what's going to happen. You know, like Mecole Hardman has become one of the biggest red zone threats in the NFL. I mean, he's lining up in the backfield. He's running jet sweeps. And then you have random other guys, Jerick McKinnon getting involved a lot. Obviously, those other 2 backs, Noah Gray, their other tight end, he's getting a lot of red zone coverage. And just in general, this offense is unreal, and I think it's 100% because Pat Mahomes' ability to get these guys the ball, and he trusts them, so he's number 1.
Yeah, he's just been on a tear this year. And you mentioned all those names who are just so relevant now that Tyreek is gone. And I don't know if it's so much that the offense is better, but it definitely looks a lot better.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like they're just force-feeding 2 guys.
Yeah, exactly.
They're spreading the love.
I think it's almost
the right
more dangerous
play.
now.
Yeah. And they're making, you never know where the football is going to go. They're making the right play every time instead of just giving it to Tyreek or Travis. I totally agree. I think the offense looks crisper.
Because there was a lot of times where it was like Mahomes gets in trouble, all right, just chuck it down to Tyreek. It's like there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like now it's like
always making the right decision.
Yeah, there's 4 different guys on the field that any of them could score a touchdown on this play. Like you can't hone in on one guy. Even though Travis Kelce is still having a really good year, it's like you hone in on him, somebody else is going to go off. You know, it's going to be Marquez Valdes-Scantling. You know, it's anybody. So, Mahomes number 1, Chiefs probably best offense in the NFL right now too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the NBA a little bit before we get to the end of this episode, before we head out. The Detroit Pistons, like we said, came off a win against the OKC Thunder Monday night. Tonight, they're playing the Boston Celtics. This is a team that the Pistons have been fairly well against over the past season, or at least last year we did pretty good against them. Cade Cunningham has really good career numbers against the Celtics. Sadiq Bey has always done good against the Boston Celtics. So I'm excited for this game tonight.
For tonight. Yeah. Like I feel like we and you haven't sat down and really watched a Pistons game. I know we did the other night, but like we didn't get to watch the whole thing together. Yeah. I'm excited to start scratch, get to watch this game.
Yeah, the game the other night was actually the only game this season that I've missed like
a little bit
most of it. Yeah. So like I'm excited to watch the full game.
Shea went ballistic. Yeah, man. He looked so.
And I'm
good
happy I missed the first half because I heard the first half was really ugly.
Yeah, it was. Ended up winning though, which is such good news.
And tonight great. Would be a nice win. The Pistons are 3-8 right now, which like isn't. I mean, obviously,
that's a great
like
record,
it's fine. Like I don't really care about the record. I just want them to look good. You know, obviously it's nice to win some games here and there, but like Victor Wembanyama would be nice on your team. Speaking of Victor Wembanyama, we got to talk about the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz right now are the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference, sitting at 9-3 so far through 12 games. I know it's early in the year, but like 12 games through the season, we're over an eighth of the way through the year. I mean, like, can the Utah Jazz legit be a playoff team this year? Like that's what I'm trying to go through in my head.
Can they be?
Like, is this team a playoff team?
No. We've seen teams with hot starts before.
Yes.
And
the Wizards last year were a very prime example of that. I think they started like 10-2 or something.
The Pistons 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, with Tobias Harris and them. Yeah.
And it just always seems to turn up bad, but they could end up in the play-in. I mean, they could be a 10 seed because of this start, but an actual playoff team, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to finish as a top 8 seed in the West. But it's crazy because they're like they beat the Lakers twice in their first 12 games of the year. Huh? Lauri Markkanen and Mike Conley are dicing up Braun, Westbrook, and AD. While Westbrook is playing good in the last game, I mean, he had like 28.
Yeah. LeBron didn't play in the last game, but still, like, you know, you still think they could be able to beat the Jazz.
You would hope. I mean, that team went full rebuild this offseason.
Lakers are, 2-8 now? Yeah, they're 2-8.
It is absolutely, that's crazy that the Pistons have a better record than the Lakers.
I know, it is actually crazy.
That is crazy.
The Jazz, I think that if the Jazz make the playoffs or not strictly depends on the front office. If they keep all their guys they currently have, I think this team makes the playoffs because they just have a lot of solid role players that are all like kind of taking on this, you know, we're supposed to tank role, and they are using it as fuel. Lauri Markkanen talked about it on Shams' podcast the other day, how he said like the whole tank talk has really motivated the locker room, and a bunch of guys that are supposed to be, you know, written off or role players that nobody wants, so they're just all on this team. They're all breaking out. Like you said, Markkanen's having a good year. Jordan Clarkson has returned to that elite 6-man status. He's actually been starting, so
yeah, he scores the shit out of the ball.
Sexton is the 6-man now. And there's just a lot of guys on this team that really they're buying in. Now, if they decide to go for the tank route and trade Mike Conley, trade Jordan Clarkson, trade Rudy Gay, some of these other guys, yeah, I do think this team is going to end up being one of the bottom teams. But right now, to be off to this 9-3 start, it's a good sign. You know, once we get to about that 25-30 game mark, and they're still, you know, above a margin above 500, I think that's when we legit got to start taking them seriously. But right now, it could just be like you said. There's plenty of teams that do this. It seems like it happens every year with some team. And this year it's the Jazz.
I have a question for you. What happened with the Nets today?
The Nets today hired Jacques Vaughn as their new head coach. He was an assistant coach on their squad right now. He's been an assistant that's hopped around for the past few years. But apparently they just never decided to hire Ime Udoka. Like that's just gone now. The plans are out. They decided that it was just not a good idea for their franchise at the moment, and they hired Jacques Vaughn as their coach.
Great call.
Yeah.
What a great call. You guys avoided a train wreck, it feels like.
Yeah.
Great job.
I'm trying to remember if Jacques Vaughn was a coach at one point. I feel like he was. No, I don't think he was.
I remember he might have been the interim head
I think
coach
he might have been
Brooklyn.
for like the Magic or something at one point. Like I don't know why I keep thinking of them two teams together. But yeah, he might have been an interim coach at one point. But yeah, he is now the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, the drama going on with Kyrie Irving is still a thing. We don't know when he's going to return. Him and Adam Silver had a meeting the other day. Apparently went well to get him to the next steps to return to the Nets. Obviously, he has like the whole list of things that they want him to do before he can return. I got him in fantasy, so like figure it out, dude. Like do the stuff. It's just a nice simple checklist. Like
it's like a
to-do list. Like it's just like the one I got in the morning, you know, brush my teeth, you know, do my homework. Like it's just that. Just do it, dude. Like it's whatever.
Donate $500,000.
I mean, like that's like me donating $5 to the
pocket change.
to the soup kitchen. Like I can do that.
Soup kitchen.
We got to talk about this one guy that I I want to talk about. I'm not saying that I was like a doubter of his because I picked Jaden Ivey as a homer pick to win Rookie of the Year. But Paolo Banchero has been ridiculous to start this year for the Orlando Magic. Right now he's averaging 23.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, shooting about 46% from the field. He's only shooting 25% from three, but he doesn't shoot a lot of threes so far. Dude is the best player on the Orlando Magic right now. He stepped in and taken on that role. He looks like a NBA vet right now. And, I mean, at this pace, he might be an all-star his rookie year.
He is such a monster. Like, when he drives to the bucket, he is a man down there getting his points. I did not expect him to be this physical this early into his career. He is, like, bodying people. Like, you're too little. I'm a monster. And he looks massive out on the floor. So I was reading reports that apparently the Magic never even considered Jabari or Chet for the number one pick.
I did see that too.
It was always Paolo. He was easily the best player in the draft, and fans just had it all wrong the whole time. Which now I think they were probably right. Yeah, they definitely. They were going with Paolo, and I see why. He's a monster. He is so good.
And obviously Chet isn't playing, so we can't really say, comparing him.
Right pick.
But Jabari Smith definitely has been off to a much slower start than Paolo Banchero. Different situations. Obviously, Banchero has come into his team and become the number one option immediately, whereas obviously Jalen Green is and Kevin Porter Jr. are definitely the higher options over him. But yeah, Banchero has been great. The Magic are the worst team in the NBA though, so that obviously is a little bit of a halter. They did lose to the Pistons, so we still own them.
Yep.
But let's talk about the Pistons just a little bit before we end this. Alec Burks and Marvin Bagley earlier this morning were both listed as questionable for tonight's game. They have both been downgraded to out for the game, but that is great news. That means we are going to see the return of Marvin Bagley and the first game of Alec Burks as a Detroit Piston.
So excited.
Soon, probably within the next few games. Really excited. I'm just excited to see what the rotations are going to look like because these are two guys that are going to be into the rotation. So what's the rotation going to look like? Is Killian Hayes kicked out of the lineup? I don't want to assume that's what's going to happen, but who's losing minutes here? I mean, we obviously Jalen Duren just came back from injury, so Bagley's got to move into that big role. Livers has been too good of a shooter to kick him out. I don't know what they're going to do.
Is it like Hami, Corey Joseph, and Killian? And you just run a ton of guard minutes out of your starters?
You could just run. I honestly do think there is going to be a point in the year where we start a combination of Bagley, Beef Stew, Duren. I do, and Bogdanovich moves to the bench, which I don't it's not going to happen anytime soon, but I do think it is going to happen eventually where he takes on that 6-man role because we need the scoring. But let's just say starting Cade, Ivey, Sadiq, Bogdanovich, Beef Stew. Bench lineup, let's just say 5 guys, then to be in order or anything. We have Jalen Duren, Bagley, Burks, Livers, and let's just say Killian for now.
Yeah.
So who's that leave out though? That's leaving out Hami, Corey Joe, Nerlens Noel, and that's it. And then obviously our other two, and then Kevin Knox obviously. And there's someone.
Is Kemba still on the roster?
No, he's not.
Was wondering
they bought him out.
They did.
They bought him out at the beginning of the year.
I didn't know if they ended up doing it.
Who's the 5th guy? I just feel like there's someone else that gets minutes that I can't think. But Corey Joe really hasn't been getting much minutes anyways lately. He's kind of been hitting the bench. But I don't know. I don't know what the plan is with Killian Hayes. I don't know if they have a G League assignment in plans for him.
Love to see it.
But I don't think something's got to happen. It's just let's just focus on the other players. Yeah. Obviously the other guys are doing well.
We've been playing awesome. I mean, we have one of the best young backcourts in the whole league. Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham are no joke. Mm-hmm. They are for real going to be one of the best. I mean, if they stick together, they'll be one of the best backcourts in the NBA.
I think so, too.
In a few years.
We might have the best young backcourt in the entire NBA.
And Pistons fans, if we do not draft Killian Hayes, we do not get Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. It's just the butterfly effect. There's no way it would have happened. If we would have gotten Tyrese Halliburton, we don't even get Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
It's so I
obviously I would have
really
loved him, but it's just not how it went.
It's worked out better that we took Killian Hayes, and he's kind of been a bust. Hate the B word.
Yeah, me too. I do hate it. But yeah, Pistons tonight. Really excited to watch it. nothing really else to talk about. I wrote down the standings, but there hasn't been anything crazy yet. We're still early into the season, so there's not much we can overreact to other than the Jazz, obviously. So that's it, everybody. Thank you for listening. We will be back with another High Tempo Fast Break episode before next week's weekly episode, so look out for that, and peace.